Here we are with Goh Nakamura. Goh is an award-winning singer, songwriter, musician, composer, and actor. He recently composed the music for Bao Nguyen's film The Greatest Night in Pop, which is about the making of the legendary song We Are the World from 1985. And he also was the composer for ESPN's Be Water, another wonderful film about Bruce Lee, produced by Bao Nguyen. I got introduced to Go's work through the beautiful medley of films called Daylight Savings, Surrogate Valentine, and I Will Make You Mine, where he stars in these productions in such a beautiful Go way. His music has also been featured in films directed by Ridley Scott, such as A Good Year, American Gangster, and Body of Lies. Welcome, Go, to this program. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. My pleasure.
Can you talk about what inspired you to become an artist and how you discovered your passion for music?
Yeah, largely my mom. She was when she was in college, she was studying music therapy. So she was already an accomplished classical pianist. So some of my earliest memories are of falling asleep while she's playing Chopin in the background. So I was super privileged to have that kind of background. And she tried so many times to teach me how to play piano, but I don't know if it's like because it's my mom, I couldn't really accept the discipline of it. But it did force me to use my ear a lot, and I would kind of peck out melodies and stuff because there's a piano in the house. And then also, she was kind of like an amateur folk musician. Like she would bust out Peter, Paul, and Mary songbooks and play these folk songs. So she was also my first guitar teacher, and I would just be curious and look through these books and read all the lyrics and look at the chord charts and stuff. And that's sort of the origin story of that, I guess.
That is so cool. Now, did she perform? I mean, that was her career. She was a professional pianist.
No, she wasn't professional, but she was like in high school. She was the theater accompanist.
Oh, cool.
For school musicals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. She sounds really quite accomplished. So you had music growing up throughout your life at an early age, which do you think that made a big difference?
Absolutely. Yeah. She's the one who introduced me to the Beatles and Motown and like I remember she would have a cassette player recording the radio, so she'd make these kind of mixtapes, and then I'd listen to those mixtapes. That's the first time I heard of like Hall and Oates and Billy Joel and all the '80s pop music.
Oh, that is so cool! Wow. Yeah. Did you know by any chance Brian Yang?
Yeah, I didn't know him back then, but he went to the rival high school, I believe. Yeah.
Right. You know, one of his favorite bands is Hall and Oates.
Yeah, I think about him every time I think of Hall and Oates.
When you mention that, I'm going, I guess he makes it his life's journey right, to all of them.
Yeah.
And another local boy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. He's hilarious.
Cool. I think it makes a big difference when a parent is involved in music or in the arts because they can.
I think so.
The appreciation of it. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, I just really lucked out. Like, so my mom was always super supportive. My dad, not so much. He was like a typical kind of Japanese businessman. So he would always say, "Oh, it's great as a hobby, but you have to really figure out a way to eat." And I just met some resistance there, but just being stubborn, I just kind of like drove me harder to to really learn my stuff, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
he passed away like 4 years ago, but I remember one moment where I was just kind of playing guitar by myself, and then he was like, "You know, you're really lucky that you have something like that you can do for yourself, like a hobby." Because he never really had any kind of hobbies. He was just, you know, workaholic kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean,
So
his
yeah,
way to make a career and living
yeah,
in a home.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
The Wow, but you had a left brain, right brain upbringing, so that was a nice combination.
Kind of. Yeah, I feel very unbalanced at points now as an adult, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
constant recalibration, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, that was exactly what I was talking to a playwright, Philip Kankatanda, and he
Mm,
the same thing about we really like you being an artist growing up and taking classes and being a musician, but not a career, not a career.
mhm.
And but yet he was basing that also when he was growing up.
Hmm.
Very interesting. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
what you were actually a really quite accomplished musician and guitarist, I think, and even in high school, because I remember hearing that other folks wanted to learn from you even in
Hmm.
your high school years. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. I moved around a lot as a kid. Like, in fact, every 4 years of my life was in a different state, pretty much. Like, just real quick. So Cleveland, Ohio, Massachusetts, New Jersey, uh, Sunnyvale, California, back to Massachusetts,
Wow.
back to Saratoga, and then back to Boston for college. So I think, in a way, it was sort of like a social survival mechanism. Like,
Mm,
I would, by the time I got to high school, um, I had been playing guitar for like, you know, 2 years or something, but I was incredibly dedicated to it and I had a knack for it. So I was kind of seeking out who's the best guitar player in the school just to kind of, you know,
hmm.
find out find out the musical ecosystem back then,
Oh, that's
which is sort of funny because you do the same now when you go to a new city as an adult or something. You seek out musicians, maybe. I mean, it's completely different with social media now when everyone's kind of advertising themselves, but it was
that was
like a survival skill kind of.
right, right, exactly. But
And so teaching guitar was a way to kind of make money as a kid. Like, yeah, I think I charged $10 per an hour lesson. And one of those students was this guy named Mark Streitenfeld, who was a German exchange student. And then I taught him for like maybe like a year and a half or something. And then the crazy thing is he went on to become Ridley Scott's composer. Isn't that wild? Like, I had lost touch with him after high school, and then I was home for one summer, and he shows up at my doorstep. He's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "Remember me? Like, I'm working for Hans. I'm working for Hans Zimmer now. I'm his assistant." And I was like, "Who's Hans Zimmer?" I honestly didn't know who Hans Zimmer was. And then my mom was like, "That's the guy who did Rain Man and Lion King." I was like, "I haven't seen either of those movies," but he was basically his assistant, his main man. And then eventually he kind of took over for Ridley Scott for a couple of his films.
amazing.
So I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but that was my first foot into that film composing world. So I would come down to visit him in Los Angeles because I was still up in the Bay Area at the time. And then we would just have recording sessions, but he wouldn't tell me what I was working on until like later. He's like, "Okay, so now, well, I'm actually composing music for a film with what's his name? Uh Oh my God. I'm having a brain freeze
No
here.
problem. No problem.
Russell Crowe. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
gentleman. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
It was like a smaller film for Ridley Scott called A Good Year, but I did a lot of work on that. And that was right around the time when technology was getting to the point where I could record a guitar part in San Francisco, email it to him, and then get like a mix back. So I was doing remote session work.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, all right. So here you are. You're a little bit out of, I guess, you went to Berkeley
Hmm.
College of Music. And so that was, I mean, you got cred. You've got your street cred. But so that happened after you
High
graduated.
school. Yeah.
So and so
Yeah. Sorry. I quantum leaped ahead.
yeah. Oh no problem. So okay, so that happened and you were working on and you were doing it was you had the talent for composing and you had the talent for doing all of this. Talk about that a little bit. Did you think that that was going to continue? Did you foresee that? And what made you continue into more the university route?
Um, so to rewind a bit, when I went to high school for freshman year, half of freshman year in Massachusetts, and then also middle school. And my friends there were all musicians, and they all wanted to go to Berkeley because it's in Boston. It's like all my heroes went there too, musical heroes. And then so when I moved back to California, I that seed was planted. Like I wanted to be with my friends mostly, and I also wanted to devote myself to the study of music and stuff like that. So while I was at Berkeley, I studied guitar primarily, but I didn't really want to get a degree in guitar. So they had a program called professional music where you can pick your own classes and kind of mix and match whatever classes. And one of those classes was a intro to film scoring class. And that, I think that really planted another seed to like pursue that somehow.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
when you were in high school, what did you think? I mean, what was your dream at that point? Was it more to perform
Yeah.
and compose?
I think just to be a rock star, just to like go on tour and like be a professional guitar player.
And you did have some experience because I remember you commenting that you knew what it was like to be the dynamics of being in a band. Were you in a
Yeah.
couple bands that
Yeah, I was in a bunch of bands in Massachusetts and also in San Jose. There was like a whole kind of training ground of clubs that you have to play to get through the system, I guess. Like places like the Cactus Club on like North First Street.
Oh,
I don't think it's there anymore. It's probably something different.
uh,
But like legend has it that like Smash Mouth would play there and stuff.
oh, cool.
Like, yeah.
Huh. So okay, so that was a good lesson.
Yeah.
Of those dynamics. Okay, and what did your parents think of that route for you at that point?
They were, I think they were concerned. They're like, oh, it's probably just something that, like a phase, maybe, and then reality will hit him later.
Were you
Yeah.
making any? I mean, that was more experience, or was it there a little bit of money coming into? Could you survive?
Zero money. No, no. I was working as a bartender at the time, and so I worked in a couple bars for probably 5 to 10 years. Uh, like these sushi bars where,
Okay. Uh-huh.
yeah, like I started off as as like a sushi roll chef.
Oh, cool.
But
Oh,
I that was clearly the wrong vocation for me. I wasn't any good.
okay.
So then I switched over to the bartender side, and it was just like service industry.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 5 to 10 years. Okay, so that was
Yeah.
after, was that after college?
After college, yeah.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
definitely you worked it.
Yeah, yeah. And then I worked at Gordon Biersch for a couple of years
Oh,
after the bartending stuff.
uh-huh.
Um, so I worked at this sushi restaurant in Palo Alto called Higashi West that was like thriving during the .com boom. And then once that bottom fell out, I quit that job, and next door was Gordon Biersch. So I didn't work at that one in Palo Alto, but I befriended the brewer,
Oh,
a guy
that's
named
why.
John Ticci, and then he was he just got hired to run the San Francisco Gordon Biersch. So I worked there for a couple of years as a brewer's assistant and also as a server.
Wow. And were you playing and composing and on your off hours for that?
Yeah, I was. That's kind of like how my first album came out. I think I was just writing songs like around that time.
Wow, that's amazing.
And, yeah.
So looking back at during when you were in that moment where you were doing sort of everything under the sun, what what advice would you give, your younger self at that point?
Just keep going. There's really nothing. There's no shortcut. You have to kind of go through these motions to kind of learn the process, I guess. Like oftentimes I would have a song idea, but I had to jump in my car to get to work. So I didn't even have a computer then. I think I would just, I had like a portable recorder. I would just record it real quick and then just put it down and then run to my car, rush to work, and then come back and then work on it more if I had the energy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So like it's almost like doing doing this intense work and even though did you feel like you're moving forward at that point?
No, not necessarily. Like I think the myth at the time was that you would either form a band or you would write a bunch of like really important material that somehow would get into the hands of a producer or something, and then you get signed to a record label.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Wow. I mean, did you feel about like giving up at that point? Or was that music was
No, it was I think at that point like so much was changing with the internet that it opened up a whole new playing field. And so this brewery job also plays into the story somehow. Like I was a busboy and literally making like $30 a day. And that became the lyric to a song that I wrote called Embarcadero Blues. And then so I recorded that really quickly. And then through these Asian arts organizations, Kearney Street Workshop, I met this brilliant animator slash director slash conceptualist named Dino Ignacio, who at the time, I think he said that he saw me perform the song and he had a video concept for it. He told me this recently in retrospect. And he made a video for me for a Filipino music channel called Mix TV, which was like a big deal at the time. And then so we filmed the video, and then through some friends I had at the time they happened to be working at YouTube, they invited me to like upload some content for the new platform, and that was one of the first ones. And then they put it onto the front page, and remember like back in the day, this was like 2007. they had a curated kind of rotating set of videos that would be on the landing page of YouTube. So it got like 1 million hits in a day or something like that. And that really kind of gave me some confidence, like, oh wow, people actually like this song. So
That's amazing.
it's pretty
That
nuts.
is,
Yeah.
it's time and place, and
Yeah.
and who it's who you know, it's who you know
Mhm.
to
Exactly.
make that happen.
It's all relationships. Yeah.
Did you know that how valuable all of that was earlier on?
I had no idea. I had really no idea. I was just kind of going with the flow.
Wow, that's amazing. So I mean, so there's some lessons learned right there
Mhm.
for folks. It's like befriend. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but be nice to everyone. It's like treat everyone as you. I mean, is there a golden rule that you tend to live by on that
Yeah, I
one?
mean, this is another lyric. I can't believe I have to say it, but just be human. You know, it's like I shouldn't have to tell you that. Just be cool.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah,
being cool.
the golden rule.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. But oftentimes people are always looking over their shoulder, and they're
Mhm.
looking for that next opportunity, but without being present to what's happening around them. And that
Mhm.
doesn't seem to be something that you do. That's
I hope not. Yeah.
yeah, that's oh. So you, I mean, so because it's, I think a lot of people might think like nice guys don't win, and it's that's far from the truth. Hopefully.
Yeah, unless you're Trump.
Oh, golly, yeah.
No.
That's a different kind of
Yeah.
karma.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah.
That's really cool. So, I mean, would you call those? How would you say that you really overcame your obstacles and setbacks?
Uh, just I guess stubbornness or a you kind of have to have a like a what's the word? Delusional belief in yourself. Self-delusional belief in yourself. I mean, that's probably some terrible advice right there, but just kind of hanging in there for dear life.
Ah, that's interesting. It's like, I mean, your passion, your music was almost like part of your DNA, right?
Hmm.
It's just like you can't imagine life without music. So,
Hmm.
but to use that as a career, or did you always sort of see that you were going to, did you have a feeling that this was going to be for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I connected to, like definitely more than making California rolls, you know, like under pressure. I wasn't very good at that, but who knows? Maybe if I stuck with that, I would have been the best. But I didn't want to stick around to find out.
Or you could have been the best brewer also. You knew beer better than other folks, right?
Yeah,
Did you see that
yeah.
that as a career also?
Actually, I wasn't a great brewer. I was more of a glorified janitor. But
Oh
it
my
was a
God.
fun job. It was a fun
Uh-huh.
job, only because I was working with my friend. So
I mean that's the best thing. It's like, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's matter who you're doing it with. I mean, that's what
mhm.
I've discovered no matter where I work.
Yeah.
It's the experience. It's not what I'm doing. That's rewarding, that I can look back and get energy from
Hmm.
and feel like I'm making a difference. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's wow. Huh. That one of the questions is like, what advice do you have for aspiring artists in terms of developing their skill?
What it really boils down to is focus. Like, for example, I can't imagine growing up now with like having an iPad and constantly being pulled in a million different directions with social media and the news cycle. And we're not wired for all that to hit us at once, you know. So when I was a kid, I was lucky. I would just come home, I'd turn on the radio, pick up my guitar, and just whatever was playing on the radio, I would try to figure it out just using my ear. So I would say just find get that ear. If this is specific for musicians, I guess, get that ear to hand connection as fast as you can. And then for a visual artist, I guess it's the same, like eye to hand coordination. Like my niece is like doing that constantly.
No, that would be cool.
Yeah.
It's just, it's almost like putting that 10,000 hours in.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no shortcut, really. Even now, like, to really get cooking on guitar, I have to play for like 2 to 3 hours to feel like I can do anything.
Wow, that's to get into,
because it gets you into this mindset, really. It's like if I picked up a guitar right now, I would feel terrible. But you need like that warm up time to like get your brain waves
right.
get into that. Yeah.
If I can ask you a weird question, do you meditate?
I don't, not formally. But guitar really is that for me.
Wow.
I think. Yeah.
So do you feel like you're getting to your subconscious at that point? Or, I mean,
probably.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just like sometimes I'll just like use it to distract myself from something, or it'll work a problem out or something. And even just playing one note like can be a very zen thing over and over and over, and you just find ways to like sprout out a melody from that one note or something.
Wow, that's really cool. Talking about, in your development, is there some advice that you think your parents, if your parents heard this advice about being an artist, what do you think would have helped them or reassured them? I mean, your mom obviously was very supportive, but your dad might have not understood.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that you think your dad would have heard that might have helped your journey?
I have no idea. Like he was always kind of terrified, I think, for me. But I think he just innately knew that the music business is not a good one, in terms of numbers. And I'm seeing that he's correct, unfortunately. Like everything is like streaming and streaming numbers, and the payout conversions for that are like abysmal. But at the same time, it's like you almost can't let that discourage you. I think just have to keep. There's a Frank Zappa quote. He says, "The modern day composer never refuses to die." So just sort of that stubbornness, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he was able to see how successful you've become. Did he share his thoughts on that one?
I think the last thing he really saw that I did, which was sort of successful, was Surrogate Valentine, and his review of that was something like, all I saw was like some guy acting crazy. I don't understand it. Because it's such a goofy movie. I didn't expect him to really connect with it or understand what's going on.
So that was his love language of staying in his lane, and
yeah,
helped him expand that lane a little bit.
Yeah.
And how about your mom? What did she? What's her thoughts been?
I think she's pretty amazed that where I've ended up, I think. Like, oh, that's so cool. She watches a lot of Netflix, so and she's been especially into Dave Boyle's new Netflix series, House of Ninjas, which is incredible too.
She
So
sounds
this is
like
a plug for him.
uh, she sounds like she's been a fan. She's been a fan from the get-go.
Yeah, yeah.
And can you tell me what a difference that's made, you know, even though you've been laser focused on things?
It's cool. I try not to let that define. It doesn't really like if she was like equally resistant, I think I would have been still as focused. But I don't know. It's been a long time. It's too late for me to turn around and try to do anything back. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Thank you for sharing. This is, I mean, this is really personal stuff. So I thank you for really
Sure.
going.
Yeah.
I really hope it's going to help some kids as well on their journey. What are some misconceptions about being an artist?
So I cheated and I Google searched what those misconceptions are. I think I think one is that inspiration is always coming to you as a creative genius. And sure, I think there are moments of when you do get inspiration and you should absolutely hit record when those happen. But I'd say like 90% of the time, it's just nothing. Like, kind of like what I was talking about earlier about having to be in that zone, picking up a guitar, playing for like 2 hours straight. You just kind of get into that kind of rhythm. And then, I don't always have the time to do that, but when you're a kid, you have nothing but time. You can just sort of sit with the guitar for like 8 hours if you want, if you're lucky. And that's kind of how all the old school people did it, I think. Pre-internet, if you think about it, right? Or they would have to get like an actual vinyl record and like slow down the rate, the speed, just to figure stuff out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, kids have it easy today.
Yeah. Everyone has their current status and all those energy things around them that
Yeah.
But that's a really good one. Thank you. It does deadlines help your creative juices flow?
Yeah. Sometimes it kicks your brain into a panic mode, which isn't like good for your health necessarily, but you start hearing stuff like, and then you see like a clear path to like accomplish it. I guess if there's like a particular cue that you're working on for a film, for example. A lot of the times I'll get tasked with making something that sounds like another song that's too expensive to license. So sometimes I'll make something that sounds pretty close, and then other times I'm just going for the same feeling that song might give you. So that's super abstract too, but you just have to be creative. The creativity lies in how to extract that kind of energy from something.
Oh, that is okay. You mentioned something a second ago about licensing another piece of music. When
Yeah.
when does that need to happen? At what is that line that you try to that you're aware of?
The line?
Or like you have to, if you use someone's music and then as a basis for what you're creating?
Yeah, for example, like the We Are the World doc, there was like a Prince song, like Purple Rain. Obviously, that's gonna be way too expensive to try to put in your movie. So it's kind of like it's a very specific kind of fragrance they're going for right there. So you have to kind of like make like a simile of that sound, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Okay, there's a question. Can you discuss the balance between artistic expression and commercial viability?
Oh man. That's a question I think me and all my friends are always asking every day. You just have no idea what's ever gonna be a hit. Like if I had the answer to that, I would be on a yacht somewhere right now. But yeah, I think that like if you are too on one side, like focused on like oh, is this going to be a big hit? Then maybe your heart's in it, not in it for the right reasons. But if it's something that really resonates with yourself, and if you can make yourself happy as a composer, genuinely, then chances are that it'll be a hit with like-minded people, and that's kind of what I go for, I think.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. All right, here's a tough question. How do
Mhm.
you handle the financial aspects of being an artist?
I'm still trying to figure that out, to be honest. Personally, like I did a couple things where, aside from teaching private guitar students, um, I would try to create these projects where, like, I would do personalized jingles for people, and it's an incredibly huge amount of work, but it's also super fun. So that's like a good way to. It's kind of like a music school in that, like, you create like a template for somebody. You say like, uh, "Who's the song for? What's the occasion?" And then if they're like, "Okay, I want to give a gift to my husband or something," then you kind of email them. You're like, "Okay, well, write me an essay about how you met your husband and what are some things that would make them laugh, and like private jokes between you two." And then those will make themselves into a lyric. And some of my favorite songs have been written that way, actually, because they have nothing to do with me. I'm just sort of like this narrator.
So yeah, so that's like a rolling stream of income. That sounds pretty good.
I mean, I would do it for like short periods of time where I would say like, okay, I'm going to open up song commissions for X amount of slots, um, for Christmas this year
Mm-hmm.
or for Valentine's. But I think someone took this idea and ran with it and made like an app for it. But
You were ahead of your time.
I didn't have the brain space or the stamina to jump into an endeavor like that. I could have been on a yacht right now. I'm kidding.
Oh, that is
It's Yeah, it's a fun way to kind of try to make a little bit of money, but it's also extremely taxing creatively. So,
yeah. Wow, this is so cool. So what sacrifices have you made to pursue this beautiful career?
oh man, um, any sense of long-term security, I think. But I think everybody's in the same boat, right? For any career, like nothing's promised. Um, that's probably the main thing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you're right. No, we have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. We
Yeah.
don't really know. We do as much as we can in whatever comfort zone you're in,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's nothing is assured. And
Hmm.
so, and how do you stay motivated during challenging times?
Oh my God. I've, this is a daily battle for me. Um, so I just try to play guitar as much as I can. Uh, just keeping that 17-year-old kid inside of me alive somehow. And just try to live healthily, I guess. That's the most important. Survival.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. My gosh. God, is there anything else you want to add about, yeah, if someone's going, Mom, I love doing this, Mom and Dad, it's like, okay, I'm serious. I'm going to put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them?
I'd say you're extremely lucky that you have that, because there's some people who never find that, or they find it when they're, 60 years old, and it's never too late. But if you find that when you're like a kid, like that's what I tell my niece, who's like super into art right now. I'm like, you're so lucky that you have something that you can jump into, kind of like what my dad told me. Just kind of like, you're lucky that you have something like that for yourself that'll never go away, if you protect it. So.
Oh, beautiful. That's so cool. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Uh, that that yeah. I'm just really impressed. You are in every medium. I'm very impressed with your TikTok channel, because it's like every time I pop on, I'm going, oh, there's another. I get your it pushes. It's wonderful. Yeah, how has TikTok been for you?
It's kind of a rabbit hole that I hate and love at the same time. Yeah, I was just sort of like, why not? Just I'm sitting here in my room just playing guitar, so just might as well record it for my own archival purposes. And then if it connects with somebody in like Idaho or something, that's even better. So, which is a good reminder to like upload more stuff. But I kind of go through periods of inspiration and also periods of like, kind of like, what am I doing? It's just part of the cycle, I guess.
Oh yeah, awesome. Well, I have to hand it to you, because it's you never know what's going to motivate somebody. And so I mean, Katz is going to get onto TikTok, because it's like we have a message to share. Like we need to, just because it might be tough, it might be hard. We definitely want to encourage
Mm-hmm.
and support. And just because you don't see yourself on TV, just because you don't see, that, it does not mean that it's not for you. So
Yeah,
although it's
totally.
getting better, the world is completely different than it was 30
It's
years ago.
so different, right? Yeah.
Thank,
Yeah.
thank goodness on that one. Oh, this
Yeah.
is cool. Oh my God. Can I ask you, what was it like? I mean, I loved Be Water. That was like a revolutionary movie to me. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my freaking God. Not only does ESPN believe in this thing, it's
Mm-hmm.
supported by Bow, and it's awesome. Can you talk about your experiences of Be Water and the greatest the greatest night in pop?
Yeah, the similar feelings that you had. Like these are like, this is like the pantheon of gods, right? Like especially well, both movies really. So it's like, oh my God, just kind of overwhelmed. Like, what could I possibly write that would even kind of be passable for this? So um I it was just a complete honor to be involved in both projects. Be Water, I did a lot of it over the pandemic, so I had time and space to do it, and it was a huge learning experience. I'm still learning.
You make it sound, I mean, how did you know you were in the groove? How did you know
I
that?
never did actually.
Whoa,
Actually, never did.
whoa,
Yeah,
really? That is so
yeah,
surprising. Like, uh, I mean, you just had to sort of like stay your lane and explore your,
yeah.
and you go,
This
all right,
this is the best. This is the best I can do at the moment. Like taking a photograph. Like you can't really judge how you look at the time. It just that's you. That's it. So it's like an audio photograph, I guess, of like years and years of like worshiping Bruce Lee or thinking about Lionel Jackson, Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson, the mythology. Both movies are so steeped in so much mystery and mythology that that's why it's like this kind of slingshot that gets released when you see these movies. You're like, oh my god, I had no idea that. For me, I had no idea Bruce Lee was like a child actor, or that he was born in San Francisco and all these things, and like all his struggles in Hollywood. And same with all the mysteries of Greatest Night in Pop. Like I still remember being a kid and like there's a rumor going around school like, oh, Prince didn't show up because they didn't pay him. But it turns out he had social anxiety just like a normal person, right? So just really humanizes all those superstars.
oh, that was amazing. That was
Yeah.
so enlightening. I mean, and what Bob Dylan and Stevie Wonder did together. Oh my
Yeah. It
God.
brought me to tears. Like every time I watch it like hundreds of times, as you can imagine, scoring it. But I'd be like crying every time I watched it. I'm like, everybody's Bob Dylan sometimes.
That was, yeah,
Yeah.
how many times do you need to watch a film in order to get the sense of it?
Oh, so many times. I mean, I'm working in like little snippets of like 3 minutes. So you're just kind of watching the same footage over and over and over. And despite doing that, I never got sick of it, actually. So that says a lot about the filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Now,
Yeah.
so did you see the complete edited version, or do you see just
Mhm.
so wow? And you don't have a lot of time. I mean, that the time
No.
for a film is just crazy.
Yeah, you're flooring it the whole time. Foot on the gas.
Hmm. How much time did
Especially so this is a this is an interesting one for Greatest Night in Pop. I started it January 2023 and then handed everything in April. And then I didn't hear anything for a little bit. And then there's two production companies involved. There's the first one was called Dorothy Street Productions, based in the UK. And then we were supposed to premiere at Toronto International Film Festival in the fall, but since there was the strikes with the actors, Lionel Richie couldn't promote the movie, so they pulled out of it because he's in SAG. And then I got an email in October saying that the movie got bought by Netflix and that they were going to pull all my music from it because they're going to re-edit it. So I had to recompose the score with another composer in 2 weeks for
oh
Sundance. Yeah,
oh
that
what
just about that
what
just about killed me.
well what it was done, and then you had to
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much of that content were you able to?
Well, they kept a lot of, not a lot, but they kept some of my original cues, but they wanted to revamp it for like a younger audience. So I think they wanted different music.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
what was it like collaborating with this new person?
It was fine. Like I didn't really interact with them much during the process because we had so little time. So we would get assigned different cues to
Mhm.
tackle most of the stuff I did was in the second half of the film where they're already in the studio, so it's not so much at the forefront. And then his stuff is more like the 80s stuff.
Wow.
But
That's
yeah, I'm just glad we finished it
oh my
in time
God.
for Sundance. Yeah.
So how was Sundance?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, it made me realize how important relationships are in the film industry or any industry, because a lot of these people that I saw there were people that I met like 20 years ago at festivals like CAM or VC or Real Asian Toronto. And these are people that you would see if you're on the film festival circuit, you see them like, once or twice a year. But then, unfortunately, of course, the pandemic wiped out film festivals for a good chunk. So I didn't get to see any of these people. And it's kind of a reunion.
Oh, that must have been beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was awesome.
yeah, this is why.
And it's nice to see like a new generation of filmmakers, like Asian American filmmakers to be specific. Like Sean Wang was there as well. I didn't get to meet him, but his trajectory is pretty wild too.
Oh, I thought I mean, in my eyes, he won. In my
Mhm.
eyes, he won the Academy. It doesn't matter whether
Yeah, right.
they get the trophy or not. It was just like, yeah, he and his mother, yeah, his grandmother, and
Yeah.
but I can't wait for his new film, Dee Dee. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't.
Me neither.
I've heard so much about it. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
wait. I'm looking.
Another Bay Area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're out there.
Well, have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
You too.
I'll keep in touch.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks,
take
Leanne.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye.